Okay, so head coach Ross of the ATACX Gym, Street Warrior in Gia Uhuru, and I received many emails on these issues asking me what is my opinion about mixed martial arts, about sports combat, about self-defense, etc., so on and so forth. And there seems to be two primary camps of thought, okay? There are those who are in the self-defense camp, the reality-based self-defense camp, and they say, they're sniping with the sports systems, and the sports system guys are sniping with the self-defense guys. And the arguments in general go something like this. The self-defense guys go, sports guys, all you guys do is practice for sports. You don't practice for street. So what you do is cute and everything and is great for in the cage, but if you try that out here on the streets, you'll get killed. That's why our approach is superior. And the sports guys go, please, you are fat, out of shape, you don't focus on performance or anything like that, so whatever you're talking about you're doing won't work anyway. What we do is our stuff work against skilled and experienced and seasoned athletes who are also trained in combat, so we're used to way more resistance and we're at a much higher performance wavelength than you are, so our stuff works all the time better than yours. Self-defense guys are like, no, it's not. You're over here, you perform with rules, you perform with weight classes. There's none of that in the streets. Nobody's jumping you in the streets, and there's, no multi-fights, there's no surprise attacks, there's no deliberate, massive differences like a grown man trying to kidnap a woman. What are you gonna do? Grown man trying to kidnap a girl. What are you gonna do? Tell the girl to do a couple of jabs and leg kicks to stop the man from doing that? He'll just grab her and take her away, and he'll attack her from surprise, usually from the back or from the side, something that's against the rules in your sport, and he'll grab her by the hair, and he might even have a taser or something. What are you gonna do to her about that? He's gonna go. Sports guys go, none of your stuff works. So even your raggedy little self-defense stuff that you claim will work under those circumstances, you never practice them against real resistance. So whatever you show is not working. You see what's going on? They're going like la 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 at each other, all right? They're actually arguing two sides of the same coin. Here's the reality. There's no such thing as sports systems without the self-defense discipline that it came from. Let me say this again. There's no such thing as a sports system that didn't come from a self-defense system first. Okay? Muay Thai, the kickboxing sport, came from Morbaran and Krabi Kabong and Jatarankabat, the self-defense systems, which themselves came from Africa, which is another story. We'll get to that later. Okay? Where's the disconnect then? The disconnect is performance. Performance. Performance is usually in the field of the sports guys. That's what they do. They have rules, they have weight classes, what have you. But once that's established, all of their energy is focused on winning. Winning by points or by overwhelming your opponent in whatever way that the rules allow you to do that. In boxing, they can knock you out or they can outpoint you. In judo, they can win by ippon or they can win by an accumulation of points. Etc., so on and so forth, okay? Now, the self-defense guys, by and large, talk a good game. And they are well aware of many of the failings of the sports guys, but they're not training in performance. They're not trained to perform as well as they should be in the self-defense arena. To me, this argument is more the domain of individuals who don't know enough about either side to realize they're really conjoined. Issues all about performance. Performance is self-defense, performance is sport, and then clearly defining the differences and the overlapping areas involved. In my experience, when you have performance as the holy grail, common to both sides, self-defense wins. Why is that? Because, once again, there is no sports system without the self-defense system that it came from first. There is no sports system without the self-defense system that it came from first. if they both have the same performance wavelength, then what happens is the self-defense person can ratchet down their self-defense skills to be able to perform in a sport. But the sport person cannot ratchet up their self-defense their sports performance to perform in self-defense, because the rules in sports prevent these circumstances from self-defense from being trained in. For example, say you're doing MMA and you're sweet at it. I mean, you're one of the best there ever is. You're Demetrius Johnson. You're John Bones Jones. You're Anderson Silva. You're somebody sweet. You know, right? And you're great at this stuff. Unfortunately, guns are not allowed in MMA. This happens a lot in this sport. And it requires performance, not only in the physical sense, but also in the knowledge base. You have to know the laws that govern your state, your country, whatever you happen to be in. And you have to have the proper understandings of tactical command, of positioning, of escape, of evasion, of de-escalation, of control, which are all part of the tier 1 requirements of our system. Here's the catch. If you do not have the performance, it doesn't matter what you get taught, because two things happen. What you get taught is not designed to achieve the goals you're supposed to get, because it hasn't been properly tested, meaning your knowledge hasn't been tested of the law. You know, your understanding of the levels of escalation and escape have not been tested. Your understanding of position and evasion, of de-escalation and control has not been tested. So whatever you've been shown is not going to work reliably. That's the failing of the self-defense guys. The performance guys, sports guys have performance down cold. That's one of the major things that they have. That's the name of their game. They can perform like a mug. Now they may be able to perform doing one thing and one thing only, but boy, they can perform the hell out of it. Okay, so if anything they're doing, like MMA, basically for a bare knuckle fight, or people with approximately the same height, and generally, if the conflict starts, in the front, the combatants, the antagonists are facing each other, MMA is great. As long as you have those circumstances, people are approximately around the same size. The fight, the encounter starts about here, face to face, then it escalates from there. MMA, man, you can take the guy down, stomp the crap out of this guy. Especially since most people you face don't have the endurance to fight for a minute straight anyway. Most of them lack any form of real grappling skills. They've never been hit in the body with any kind of power, much as need or kick there, or fed a steady diet of body punches. They've never been ground and pounded. You eat them up. Pretty much any sport, if you're pretty good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're pretty good at point fighting, karate, whatever kind of point fighting it is, you pretty much beat the average person, because they are, by and large, untrained. So, empty-handed head up, you pretty much win. Empty-handed against a knife, empty-handed against people, more than one person, empty-handed, you're in a disadvantaged position. You could be sitting down in your car, at school on your desk. You could be at the club sitting at a booth, and a group of guys come up to you, or a group of girls come up to you, or a mixed group come up to you. Okay, could be coming out of your car jawing with one guy, and his friend comes from behind you with a bat. You literally have no training for that. Self-defense does. Those are scenarios they're supposed to engage. And if they do that with proper performance, meaning they're doing it against actual resistance that's realistic, that's functional, and escalates as your skill increases, the resistance increases. They have it all over sports guys. But like I said, the problem is that most of these people do not work on performance. Self-defense guys don't use performance in the broad areas they're supposed to. The sports guys are all about performance, but only in the narrow box that they practice in. They don't do anything else. So you won't learn any hair grab defenses in your Muay Thai class, because it's against the rules to do that. You won't learn any drive-by defenses in your MMA classes. It's against the rules to do that. You won't learn any knife defenses, back defenses, multi-fight defenses in your MMA or Muay Thai class. It's against the rules to do that. Self-defense class, you may have all of those things, but they may not have the proper performance wavelength. So what they teach you will get your butt kicked, all right? That's what we at the ATACX gym, that would be, all right? That's why we marry the two. We have high performance across the board, defined categories of self-defense, which cover all the categories of self-defense that we as quote-unquote civilians and those of us who are LEO, law enforcement officers, will run across on planet Earth. You will not find one that's not part of the categories that we teach. Our performance is extremely high. So high that I guarantee our results in 45 seconds so you get your money. All right? Okay. Now, what are some of the benefits you can get that's, say, exclusive to sports? Well, one of the major things you get that's exclusive to sports is that, hey, you can travel. You can, if you go professional with it, you can get paid for this. This can be your lifetime. There are all kinds of benefits that come from a vibrant sports engagement. It's healthy, psychologically and physically. You don't run off into these crazy little, survivalism, mindsets where it's like, hey, you know what, there's all of these crazy, conspiracy theories. None of that. You can compete as hard as you want to against a person, and just from the act of constantly competing against them at a high level, you wind up having respect for them. Even if you hate them personally, which is rare, you respect them athletically. You respect their performance. That's why you train so hard to beat them. Okay? Also, a circuit in that regard includes people who will wind up enriching the local environments and the local businesses, because you go pay for a venue, you go pay for the costs that you need in order to compete at the particular venue. You buy food, you buy rooms. The local businesses benefit from the sports combative environment. Okay? Also, there's all kinds of personal benefits that come from there. Individuals who are truly dedicated to the sports systems and sports combat systems, they oftentimes find people of like mind and like spirit who are also engaged in that entire area. There's quite a few individuals who found their significant others, their wives and or husbands, in that very same venue, even if they're not fighters, because they were drawn to the same arenas, the same circuits where these kinds of events are held. Judo, karate, MMA, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay? So there are all kinds of benefits to be had. Same thing with self-defense. Self-defense skills, you can do dramatically good things. You can literally reduce the amount of crimes in the neighborhood. You can literally increase the performance of people in school. You can literally increase the knowledge, the functional knowledge of whole communities regarding self-defense, proper eating, proper mindsets, and these individuals are much more difficult, to be taken in by some of the BS craptasticness of quite a few of the politicians, not just here in the United States, but politicians, period, who start spewing stupidities just to try to rile up certain segments of nations or locations, populace, in order to capitalize on these things for votes. Okay? So there are all kinds of benefits to be had. If you have any more questions or comments about the subject, please leave it at the end in the comment section, in the boxes below. I'll be more than happy to respond to them. I'll continue to make more videos along these lines as needed, based upon the questions we have and the kind of conversations we have. All right? Looking forward to talking to you again. It's Head Coach Ross of the ATACX Gym, Street Warrior in Gia Uhuru. Asante sana. Ashe.